My son locked me in my bedroom and took my phone while I was having a heart attack. Now, before you grab your pitchforks, you should know something. My son is Captain Jake Morrison, Riverside Fire Department. You know him, the guy who got featured in People magazine last month for risking his life to save others. The same hero who's up for a $50,000 award next week. I'm Frank Morrison. I saved 247 lives in Vietnam as a combat medic. My son saved his career by letting me almost die. But here's what Jake doesn't know. I spent 40 years in emergencies, and I always have a backup plan. By the time this story ends, 50,000 people will know exactly what kind of hero my son really is. Because sometimes the biggest cowards wear the shiniest medals. Let me take you back to how this all started. Jake's been climbing the hero ladder for 15 years now. Award ceremonies where I'm always the proud dad in the background photos. His $85,000 salary bought him a new F-150 Raptor 65 grand. Red paint, still has the dealer sticker. Suburban house with a $420,000 mortgage that keeps him up at night. But Jake's pattern of dismissing my health started exactly 2 years ago, right after I moved into his guest room following my mild stroke. See, I take sertraline, 100 milligrams daily for PTSD. Sometimes it makes me dizzy. Nothing serious. Just medication side effects that any doctor would recognize. But Jake, he started calling it Dad's drinking problem, to the neighbors, to his wife Sarah, to anyone who'd listen. Thing is, I've been sober 20 years. 20 years, 3 months, 14 days, not that anyone's counting. May 15th, family barbecue. I got chest pains during Jake's promotion celebration, sharp radiating down my left arm. I pulled him aside. Jake, something's wrong. This feels like, Dad, probably just anxiety. You get worked up at parties. Worked up. Like I'm some nervous old man instead of someone who performed surgery under mortar fire. July 22nd. I fell down the stairs, hit my head on the banister, saw stars, called for Jake. He found me on the floor, helped me up. Then I heard him tell Sarah in the kitchen, Dad needs to stop taking those pills. They're making him unstable. Unstable, that's the word he used. September 8th. My heart started racing at dinner. Irregular rhythm, skipping beats. I showed Jake my pulse 110, erratic. Dad, you're fine. Stop being dramatic. Dramatic. A combat medic asking for medical attention is dramatic. But here's what Jake didn't know. I started keeping a notebook. Small spiral pad, $5 at CVS. Dates, times, witnesses. Every dismissal, every excuse, every time he chose his reputation over my health. Dr. Patricia Huang at the VA hospital had been clear in her notes. Medication-related side effects, not substance abuse. Patient shows no signs of alcohol dependency. I photographed those medical records. Every page, just in case. At the August retirement party for Captain Williams, I overheard Jake talking to his buddies by the beer cooler. My dad's got some issues, but I keep him stable. Part of being a good son, you know? Keep me stable. Like I'm a dangerous animal, instead of the man who taught him how to tie his shoes. The other firefighters nodded along. Poor Jake, dealing with his difficult father. What a saint. I stayed in the shadows, listening, taking notes, because in Vietnam, we had a saying, intelligence wins wars. And I was starting to realize I was fighting a war Jake didn't even know had started. 3 weeks ago, Jake brought home a newspaper clipping, front page of the Riverside Herald, local hero, up for state's highest honor. His photo, uniform pressed, medals gleaming. Dad, look at this. Firefighter of the Year, $50,000. Ceremony next Thursday. He was glowing. Absolutely glowing. That's wonderful, son. The whole department will be there. Channel 8 is doing interviews. This could change everything for my career. Change everything. Like his career needed changing more than his character did. That night, I called Dr. Huang's office, asked for copies of my complete medical file, all 73 pages, clean psychiatric evaluation, perfect blood work, medication compliance reports. The receptionist asked why I needed them. Insurance purposes, I said. But really? I was building a case. Because 40 years as a medic taught me something Jake never learned. Documentation saves lives. Jake had no idea I was gathering evidence. Good thing, because October 15th was coming fast. And on October 15th, my son would have to choose between his medal and my life. October 15th. 3:47 p.m. I was in my bedroom. Jake's guest room, really, when the pain hit. Sharp, crushing pressure across my chest. Left arm tingling, like someone was running electricity through it. Classic myocardial infarction symptoms. I'd seen it hundreds of times in Da Nang. I called Jake's cell. Dad, I'm literally at the award ceremony rehearsal. Can this wait? Jake, I think I'm having... Are you drunk? Jesus, Dad, the whole department is here. The whole department. Always the whole department with Jake. Son, I need you to listen. Chest pain, left arm numbness, shortness of breath. These are heart attack symptoms. Dad, we've been through this. Your medication makes you paranoid. Take a nap. He hung up. 20 minutes later, I heard his Raptor screaming into the driveway. Tires squealing, engine revving. Jake slammed through the front door like he was responding to a 5-alarm fire, except this time he was the emergency. Dad! His voice carried down the hall, angry, not concerned. What the hell is wrong with you? He stormed into my room wearing his dress uniform. Full medals, pressed shirt, the works. He'd been practicing for photos. Dad, you cannot keep doing this drama queen shit. Do you know what today is? I showed him my pulse on my fitness tracker. 110 BPM, irregular rhythm. Jake, look at this. Something's wrong. Something's wrong, all right. You're sabotaging the biggest day of my career. He grabbed my wrist, stared at the numbers. For a second, just a second, I saw doubt flicker across his face. Then his phone buzzed. Text message. He read it, and his jaw tightened. KDFW Channel 8 is interviewing me tomorrow about the Firefighter of the Year award. Channel 8, Dad, do you understand what that means for my career? Jake, please, call 911. Absolutely not. He started pacing, running his hands through his hair, messing up his perfect ceremony look. You know what happened to Captain Rodriguez when his family had incidents? Passed over for promotion 3 years running. 3 years, Dad. Because his wife kept having medical emergencies that turned out to be anxiety attacks. The pain was getting worse, radiating up my neck now, down into my stomach. Jake, this isn't anxiety. I'm having a heart attack. Right? Just like you were having a stroke during my promotion party. Just like you were dying when Sarah's parents came for dinner. He pulled out my phone from his pocket. When had he taken it? Dad, you're staying in this room until you sober up and stop embarrassing me? Son, I haven't had a drink in 20 years. That's what they all say. He walked to my bedroom door, pulled something from his pocket. A slide lock. Home Depot bag on my dresser receipt showed $12.47. He installed it on the outside of my door, right there, while I watched. Jake, what are you doing? This is for your own good. Sarah's bringing soup later. The lock slid shut with a metallic click. I heard him in the hallway making a phone call. Hey, Sarah, Dad's having another episode. Keep the kids away from this room tonight. Yeah, I know. I'll handle it after the ceremony. Another episode. Like I was some recurring problem instead of his father having a medical emergency. His footsteps faded toward the kitchen. Then I heard the Raptor start up again, driving back to his rehearsal. I sat on my bed, pain crushing my chest, staring at that brand new lock. 47 minutes. That's how long it had been since I first called him. In Vietnam, 47 minutes was the difference between saving Lieutenant Collins and losing him to blood loss. 47 minutes was the difference between life and death. Jake had just chosen his reputation over my life. But here's what my son forgot. I'm not just his embarrassing father. I'm Frank Morrison, combat medic. 247 confirmed saves, and I never panicked under fire. That's when I remembered something Jake didn't know about. My old iPad mini, hidden under the mattress, 60% battery. Facebook app still logged in. Jake thought he'd silence me. He had no idea I was about to get very, very loud. I pulled the iPad out from under my mattress. Cracked screen corner, but it still worked. Battery at 60% enough for what I needed to do. First things first, medical assessment. Pain scale, 8 out of 10. Classic myocardial infarction presentation. Chest pressure, left arm tingling, shortness of breath, nausea creeping in. Without treatment, 30% mortality risk within 6 hours. I'd seen this exact scenario in Da Nang. Sergeant Martinez, 1971, same symptoms, same timeline. He lived because I acted fast. Jake's iPhone was gone, but he'd missed something crucial. This iPad, and more importantly, what was on it. Facebook app still logged in, and I knew exactly which page I needed. Riverside Fire Department protecting our community. 47,000 followers. Jake had made me follow it months ago, said it was good for family support. I remember his crisis management training from last year. Came home stressed, telling Sarah about social media protocols. One bad video can destroy a career in minutes, he'd said. Department's got zero tolerance for public incidents. Made Sarah delete her Facebook account after she posted a complaint about department politics. Too risky, he said. Now I understood what Jake meant by risky. I opened the Facebook app, navigated to the department page. All those hero photos, community events, press releases about brave firefighters saving lives. My plan crystallized. Rule number 1 from Vietnam, stay calm under pressure. Rule number 2, assess your resources. Rule number 3, execute with precision. Resources, iPad with camera, Facebook Live capability, 47,000 followers watching the department page. Jake's reputation's their golden boy. His award ceremony in 3 days. Execution. Live stream my medical emergency. Let the fire department watch their hero choose his medal over his father's life. I thought about Lieutenant Collins again. Shrapnel in his chest. Blood everywhere. Mortars exploding 200 yards away. I'd performed field surgery with my hands shaking from explosions. Saved his life with an IV bag and chest compressions. Collins lived to be 67. Died peacefully last year, surrounded by family. He got 46 extra years because I stayed calm and did my job. Jake was about to learn what real heroism looked like. I positioned the iPad, tested the camera angle, could see the locked door, my medical alert bracelet, and Jake's Firefighter of the Month plaque on my dresser. Perfect irony. 5:43 p.m. Jake would be wrapping up his rehearsal soon, probably practicing his acceptance speech. I hit go live on the Riverside Fire Department page. 12 viewers immediately, then 47. Numbers climbing fast. Hello, Riverside Fire Department. This is Frank Morrison, Captain Jake Morrison's father. My voice was steady. Combat medic steady. I'm locked in my bedroom, having a heart attack, and my hero son won't call an ambulance. 156 viewers now. Comments starting to appear. Jake earned this plaque. I held up his Firefighter of the Month award, saving Mrs. Chen from a house fire. Beautiful work, but he won't save his own father. I showed the locked door, tried the handle. Solid as a prison cell. Jake told you all I have a drinking problem. Time for some truth. I held up my medical alert bracelet to the camera. Clear text. Frank Morrison, DOB of 4/15/1954, heart condition, emergency contact, Jake Morrison. Jake's emergency contact for a man he won't help in an emergency. 400 viewers. Comments flooding in faster than I could read them. Someone wrote, "Holy shit, is this real?" Another, "Someone call 911 to his address." Jake Morrison? The hero guy? I pulled out Dr. Huang's medical report, held it to the camera. My son thinks I'm drunk. Here's my VA hospital evaluation. 3 pages. No substance abuse, PTSD medication side effects, nothing more. The pain was intensifying, but my voice stayed level. 40 years of emergencies taught me that panic kills patients. I earned a Purple Heart saving 247 men in Vietnam. Jake learned none of that. 800 viewers now. The numbers climbing like a rocket. I heard sirens in the distance. Multiple units. Department policy says Jake should respond to medical emergencies within 4 minutes. It's been 57 minutes since I told him I was dying. The sirens were getting closer. Jake's voice from the driveway. "What the hell? Who called 911? I smiled at the camera. Jake's about to discover that 2,000 firefighters are watching him choose between his medal and his father's life. Heavy footsteps in the hallway. The lock was about to slide open. And Jake Morrison was about to meet his father's backup plan. The lock slid open with a sharp click. Jake burst through the door, still in his dress uniform, medals jangling. 3 EMTs followed behind him. Rodriguez, Chen, and someone I didn't recognize. "Dad, what did you do?" I kept the live stream running, camera pointed at Jake's face. 2,300 viewers now. "I live streamed my heart attack to your department's Facebook page, son." "You what?" His face went white. Pure panic, the kind of look I'd seen on rookie medics under fire. EMT Rodriguez stepped forward. I recognized him from Jake's station. Good man, 20 years on the job. Mr. Morrison, we need to get you to County General immediately. Jake, how long has he been symptomatic? I watched Jake's mouth open and close like a fish. He was reading the viewer count on my iPad screen. Jake, Rodriguez pressed. How long? My father has substance issues, I thought. Rodriguez leaned closer, professional assessment mode. Sir, I don't smell alcohol, and his symptoms are clearly cardiac. I held the iPad higher, making sure the camera caught everything. Rodriguez, tell them what department protocol says about family medical emergencies. 4-minute response time, regardless of relationship, Rodriguez said automatically. Then he paused, understanding what I was really asking. Jake's panic was escalating. He could see the comment stream. This is disgusting. Fire him now. Real heroes save family first. How long, Jake? I asked quietly. How long since I first called you? He looked at his watch. Dad, please. 1 hour and 16 minutes, I said to the camera. My son had 1 hour and 16 minutes to save my life. He spent it protecting his reputation. The EMTs were working now. Blood pressure cuff, EKG leads, IV prep, professional, efficient. Everything Jake should have done an hour ago. Jake, Rodriguez said quietly, you can't tell the chief about this. The award ceremony is Thursday. But Rodriguez was looking at my iPad screen. 3,400 viewers. Comments scrolling too fast to read. Jake, man, there are 4,000 people watching this right now. I spoke directly to the camera, my voice steady as granite. My son cared more about his reputation than my life. How many victims has he failed to save because it wasn't convenient? The new EMT young guy, maybe 25, was staring at Jake with something between confusion and disgust. Sir, you're a firefighter, and you didn't respond to your father's cardiac event? It's complicated, Jake stammered. He has episodes. Episodes? I held up my Purple Heart citation to the camera. 247 men didn't have episodes. They had emergencies, and I responded to every single one. Rodriguez was reading the citation over my shoulder. His expression changed completely. Mr. Morrison, you were Frank Morrison? The medic who saved Bravo Company at Firebase Charlie? Firebase Charlie, March 23rd, 1971. You know that story? My uncle was there. Tommy Rodriguez, corporal. You operated on him during the mortar attack. Small world. Tommy Rodriguez lived to be 73. Died last year, surrounded by grandchildren. Your uncle was a good soldier, I told Rodriguez. Then I looked at Jake. He understood what duty meant. 5,000 viewers now. The comments were brutal. This man is a war hero and his son locked him up? Jake Morrison should be fired immediately. Disgrace to the uniform. Jake was reading them, his face getting paler with each comment. Dad, please, turn off the camera. My career, son, your career was built on a lie. Time for some truth. I showed the viewers my notebook, 2 years of documented dismissals. Every date and time Jake had ignored my health. May 15th, chest pains during family party. Jake said probably anxiety. July 22nd, fell downstairs, hit my head. Jake told his wife I needed to stop taking pills. September 8th, irregular heartbeat. Jake called me dramatic. Rodriguez was taking notes now. Department protocol for family neglect cases. Mr. Morrison, we're required to file a report when firefighters fail to respond to family emergencies. Jake's panic hit full throttle. Rodriguez, you can't. The investigation will destroy everything. Jake, I said quietly, you destroyed everything when you locked that door. The EMTs were loading me onto a stretcher. I kept the iPad running, camera pointed at the ceiling. 7,000 viewers, I announced. 7,000 people just watched Riverside Fire Department's hero choose his medal over his father's life. As they wheeled me out, I heard Jake pleading with Rodriguez. Please, man, the ceremony is Thursday. Channel 8 is coming. This will ruin my entire career. Rodriguez's response was ice cold. Jake, your career was ruined the moment you locked your father in a room during a heart attack. In the ambulance, I finally turned off the live stream. Final count. 8,200 viewers, 1,400 shares. My phone was buzzing with notifications, but the EMTs had confiscated it. Mr. Morrison, Rodriguez said, that was the bravest thing I've seen in 20 years. No, I said. The bravest thing was saving Tommy Rodriguez under mortar fire. This was just cleanup. But I knew this was just the beginning. Jake had no idea that by tomorrow morning, his live-streamed humiliation would be the top story on every local news channel, and the fire department would have some very serious questions about their Golden Boy's fitness for duty. The award ceremony was in 3 days. Jake was about to learn that some prizes aren't worth winning. County General Hospital, room 314. Next morning, 6:30 a.m. Jake walked in carrying coffee and a manila folder. His eyes were red, hair disheveled. The Golden Boy looked like he'd been hit by his own fire truck. "Dad, we need to talk." I was feeling better. Cardiologist said minor heart attack, caught early thanks to prompt medical intervention. Ironic, considering the intervention came from strangers, not my son. "Talk away, Jake." He sat down, opened the folder. Crisis Management Consultant's letterhead. Morrison Media Solutions, $2,500 retainer fee. "Dad, I hired professionals. We can fix this." "Fix what, exactly?" "The live stream has 47,000 views. It's spreading across social media. Local news wants interviews." He pulled out a prepared statement. "Here's what we're going to say. Dad's been struggling with PTSD and medication interactions. I've been his primary caregiver for 2 years, making difficult decisions to protect him from harmful episodes." I stared at him. "You want me to lie. I want you to understand what's at stake. My career, our family's reputation, the kids' college funds." "Jake, stop." But he kept going, desperation creeping into his voice. "Channel 8 already called. They want a response before their 6 o'clock broadcast. If we control the narrative now..." "Son, there is no narrative. You locked me in a room during a heart attack." His consultant's talking points crumpled in his hands. "Dad, please. I made a mistake. But we can say it was medical judgment. Caregiver fatigue. Anything except what it looks like." "What does it look like, Jake?" "Like I chose my career over your life." First honest thing he'd said in years. My phone rang. Reporter Angela Vasquez from Channel 8. I'd helped her with a VA hospital corruption story last year. "Mr. Morrison, can you comment on your son's allegations about your mental state?" I put her on speaker. Jake's face went white. "Angela, I'm happy to provide my complete medical records. Dr. Patricia Huang at the VA can verify I have no substance abuse issues, and my mental health is excellent." "What about Captain Morrison's claim that you've had previous episodes?" "You mean the 3 times I had legitimate medical concerns that my son dismissed? I documented each incident. Dates, times, witnesses." Jake was shaking his head frantically, making throat-cutting gestures. "I also have bank records showing Jake claimed me as a dependent for a $3,200 tax credit while spending $0 on my actual care. Mr. Morrison, are you saying your son deliberately ignored your medical emergency to protect his career?" "I'm saying he had 57 minutes to save my life and chose his award ceremony instead." Jake grabbed for the phone. I pulled it away. "Angela, watch the live stream. Then ask yourself, what kind of hero locks his father in a room during a heart attack?" I hung up. Jake slumped in his chair. "Dad, you just destroyed my career." "No, son. You destroyed your career when you slid that lock shut." Hospital room door opened. Fire Chief Patricia Reeves walked in, full dress uniform. Behind her, 2 internal affairs investigators. "Captain Morrison," Chief Reeves said, "we need to discuss your response to a family medical emergency." Jake stood up, tried to salvage something. "Chief, my father has documented mental health. Captain Morrison, we've reviewed the live stream. We've spoken with EMT Rodriguez. We've seen Mr. Morrison's medical records." She turned to me. "Sir, I want to personally apologize for this department's failure." "Chief, the department didn't fail. One officer did. Nevertheless, this reflects on all of us. Captain Morrison, you're suspended pending full investigation." Jake's legs gave out. He sat down hard. "Chief, the award ceremony is Thursday, Channel 8. Captain Morrison, the award ceremony is canceled, pending review of your fitness for duty." After they left, Jake and I sat in silence. "Dad, what happens now?" "Now you learn that reputation follows character, not the reverse." The real reckoning was just beginning. By Thursday morning, the day Jake's award ceremony was supposed to happen, my live stream had gone completely viral. 47,000 views on the original Facebook video. 1,200 shares. Local news picked it up, then regional, then national. Jake wasn't going down without a fight. Channel 8 News, 6 p.m. broadcast. There was my son sitting across from anchor David Chen, wearing his dress uniform with full medals, playing the victim card. David, this is a tragic situation involving a family member who's been struggling with PTSD and medication interactions. As his primary caregiver for 2 years, I've had to make incredibly difficult decisions to protect him from harmful episodes. Smooth, polished, exactly what his crisis consultant had coached him to say. Sometimes heroes have to make tough choices about family members who can't make rational decisions for themselves. I watched from my hospital bed, shaking my head. Even now, Jake was rewriting history. Chen leaned forward. Captain Morrison, your father claims he was having a legitimate heart attack. Medical records confirm cardiac event. How do you respond? David, my father has had multiple false alarms. Chest pains that turned out to be anxiety. Falls that happened during medication episodes. I made a judgment call based on 2 years of experience as his caregiver. Caregiver. Like he'd done anything except collect tax benefits. But Jake had miscalculated. He'd forgotten about Angela Vasquez. Channel 8, 7 p.m., Special Investigation segment. We've obtained exclusive documents that paint a different picture of the Morrison family situation. Angela held up my bank statements. Records show Captain Morrison claimed his father as a dependent for tax purposes, receiving over $3,000 in credits. However, spending records show $0 allocated for his father's care. She displayed Dr. Huang's medical evaluation on screen. VA hospital psychiatrist Dr. Patricia Huang provided this evaluation. Patient shows no signs of substance abuse. Mental health assessment, excellent. Medication side effects, well managed and documented. The camera cut to Dr. Huang herself. Mr. Morrison is one of our most stable patients. His PTSD is well controlled, his medication compliance is perfect, and he's never shown any signs of substance abuse or cognitive impairment. Back to Angela in the studio. We also spoke with neighbors about Captain Morrison's claims of providing 2 years of care. Cut to interview with Mrs. Patricia Williams' next-door neighbor. Frank takes care of himself. Mows his own lawn, drives himself to appointments, cooks his own meals. I've never seen Jake help him with anything. In fact, Jake told me last month that his father was becoming a burden. On camera, recorded. Angela continued. Perhaps most damning, we obtained this audio recording from the fire department's emergency dispatch logs. My voice calling 911 from the hospital. This is Frank Morrison. I want to report a firefighter who failed to respond to a medical emergency. My son, Captain Jake Morrison, locked me in a room during a heart attack. Then Jake's voice from when he arrived at the scene. Cancel that ambulance call. False alarm. My father gets confused. Except the ambulance was already there. EMTs already treating me. Jake trying to cover his tracks even as I was being loaded onto a stretcher. Angela wrapped up the segment. Captain Morrison's heroic reputation may have saved many lives, but questions remain. Did his quest for public recognition cost him his private integrity? My phone started ringing. Reporters from 3 networks, The Washington Post, People magazine wanting to retract Jake's feature story, but the most important call came at 8 p.m. Fire Chief Reeves. Mr. Morrison, I need you to know something. The City Council met in emergency session today. They're threatening our entire budget increase. $2.8 million if this family dysfunction damages public trust in first responders. Chief, this isn't about the department. This is about one officer who forgot his oath. I understand that, sir, but Jake's actions reflect on all of us. We're launching a formal investigation, full internal affairs review. He's suspended without pay, pending resolution. Without pay. Jake's mortgage payment was $2,847 a month. Sarah worked part-time at the library, maybe $1,500 a month. They had about 6 weeks before foreclosure proceedings. I hung up and turned on Channel 5 News. Lead story. Hero firefighter suspended after viral video shows him ignoring father's heart attack. Jake's perfect reputation was cracking apart in real time, but he still had one card left to play, and knowing my son, he'd play it at the most public moment possible. The award ceremony had been canceled, but the Riverside Community Center was still booked for an evening honoring first responders. 500 attendees, city officials, media coverage. Jake's last chance to salvage his career. My last chance to show him what real accountability looked like. Because tomorrow night, Jake Morrison was going to learn the difference between being a hero and being famous, and 500 people were going to watch him learn it. Released from County General Friday morning, I had work to do, real work, the kind that wins wars and saves lives. Documentation, evidence, truth. I spread everything across my kitchen table like a battle plan. 2 years of careful record keeping, ready for final assembly. Medical timeline. I organized every health incident Jake had dismissed. May 15th chest pains during his promotion party, witnessed by 12 firefighters. July 22nd head injury from stair fall, witnessed by Sarah and the kids. September 8th irregular heartbeat at family dinner, witnessed by Sarah's parents. 3 incidents. 3 times Jake chose reputation over responsibility. Financial records. Bank statements going back 24 months. Jake's tax returns, claiming me as a dependent $3,200 in credits. My own bank account showing I'd paid for my own groceries, medications, doctor visits. Every penny accounted for. Jake's caregiving had cost him exactly $0. Witness statements. I called Mrs. Williams next door. She agreed to provide written testimony about Jake calling me a burden and claiming I was drinking again. Dr. Huang faxed her complete psychiatric evaluation, 6 pages of clinical assessment. Patient exhibits no signs of substance abuse, cognitive impairment, or psychiatric instability. PTSD well managed with medication. Prognosis excellent. Department policies. I downloaded the Riverside Fire Department's Code of Ethics from their website. Page 4, Section 3. Firefighters shall respond to all emergency situations without regard to personal convenience or relationship to the victim. Personal convenience. Jake had violated his oath for personal convenience. The counter-investigation. While I was building my case, Jake was spending money he didn't have trying to destroy mine. His private investigator, some guy named Marcus Webb, $5,000 according to the contract I found in Jake's trash, had been digging into my background for a week. Webb found nothing. 20 years of sobriety, perfect credit score, no debt except a small mortgage I'd been paying faithfully for 15 years. Military records pristine, VA medical records clean, records. The best they could do was find an incident from 1987 where I'd been pulled over for suspected drunk driving. Breathalyzer came back negative. I'd been having a blood sugar episode from diabetes medication. Case dismissed. 37 years ago. That was their smoking gun. Jake's escalating lies. Meanwhile, my son was telling different stories to different people, not realizing they'd eventually compare notes. To Sarah, Dad's getting increasingly unstable. The medication is affecting his judgment. To their mortgage company, I'm my father's medical guardian due to his declining mental state. He'd tried to use this to defer payments. To their insurance company, my father requires significant daily care due to combat-related mental health issues. This raised their premiums by $400 a month. To the fire department union representative, my father's been manipulating family situations to get attention since my mother died. My mother died 12 years ago. I'd been fined for 11 years and 11 months. The community investigation. Word was spreading through Riverside like wildfire. The Vietnam veterans of foreign wars post-1847 issued a public statement. Frank Morrison served with distinction in combat, saving 247 confirmed lives under enemy fire. His son's actions dishonor both the family name and the uniform. We stand with Frank. The American Legion Post 92 followed with their own statement. A hero who served his country with honor deserves better from his own family. Even the Riverside Teachers Association, where I'd worked for 30 years after the war, released a letter. Frank Morrison dedicated his career to educating young people about service and sacrifice. His character has never been in question. The union problem. Fire Department Union Rep Danny Kowalski visited me Saturday afternoon. Nervous, sweating, trying to find middle ground. Frank, this is bigger than just Jake. If the city council loses faith in first responders, they'll cut our budget. Layoffs, reduced pensions, the whole department suffers. Danny, Jake made his choice. The department doesn't have to own it. But the media's painting all firefighters as potential family abusers. It's affecting recruitment, public trust, everything. Then maybe the department should have higher standards for heroes. He left with nothing. because there was nothing to negotiate. Final preparation. Sunday evening, I laid out my dress blues, Purple Heart, Bronze Star, Combat Medic Badge. Still fit perfectly after 50 years. The community center event was tomorrow night. 500 people, including city officials, media, and Jake's entire department. Jake would be there, suspended or not. He wouldn't miss his last chance to salvage his reputation. I checked my evidence folder one final time. Medical records, financial documents, witness statements, department policies. Everything organized in manila folders, clearly labeled. 2 years of documentation. 47,000 Facebook viewers. National media attention. All building to tomorrow night, when Jake Morrison would face the consequences of choosing his medal over his father's life. In Vietnam, we called it the moment of truth. Tomorrow, Jake would learn what truth actually costs. Monday evening, Riverside Community Center, 7 p.m. An evening honoring first responders. 500 people packed the main hall. Firefighters, police officers, city officials, families, media. Red, white, and blue bunting everywhere. American flags flanking the stage. The whole patriotic pageant. I arrived wearing my dress blues. Purple Heart, Bronze Star, Combat Medic Badge. Every ribbon earned in blood and sweat 50 years ago. Still fit like they were tailored yesterday. Carried a manila folder thick with evidence. 2 years of documentation. My insurance policy. Fire Chief Patricia Reeves spotted me at the entrance. "Mr. Morrison, maybe this isn't the appropriate venue. Chief, 47,000 people watched my son choose his career over my life. These 500 should know who they've been calling a hero." She looked uncomfortable but didn't stop me. Couldn't stop me. This was a public event. I found a seat in the third row, center aisle. Perfect view of the podium. More importantly, perfect position for everyone to see me. Jake was there, of course. Back corner, trying to stay invisible. Still suspended, but wearing his dress uniform anyway. Sarah beside him, looking miserable. The kids weren't there. Probably at her mother's house, away from the circus. Mayor Jennifer Walsh took the podium at 7:30. Tonight we honor the brave men and women who risk their lives for our community. Polite applause, standard political speech about sacrifice and service. Then she got to the elephant in the room. Recent events have reminded us that heroes are human. They make mistakes. But tonight, we celebrate the overwhelming majority who serve with honor. Translation: we're not talking about Jake Morrison, but I was. Fire Chief Reeves introduced the award recipients. 5 firefighters getting commendations. 3 police officers receiving medals of valor. Good people doing good work. Jake wasn't among them. His empty chair on stage spoke volumes. Then Chief Reeves made an announcement that changed everything. This year's Firefighter of the Year award has been redistributed to the Emergency Response Training Fund, supporting education for first responders facing difficult family situations. The irony was perfect. Jake's award money was now training firefighters to handle exactly the situation he'd failed. That's when Jake stood up. "Chief, I'd like to address the community." Murmur through the crowd. Chief Reeves looked panicked. "Captain Morrison, this isn't—" "Ma'am, I have something to say about service and sacrifice." He walked to the front of the room. 500 people watching. Cameras rolling. Jake took the microphone, saw me in the third row, faltered for a moment, then found his voice. "I want to thank my family, especially my father, who taught me about service." I stood up. "Jake, tell them what you really learned about service." The room went dead silent. You could hear the air conditioning humming. "Sir, please sit down," Mayor Walsh said. "Ma'am, I'm Frank Morrison, Purple Heart recipient, combat medic, Vietnam 1970 to 1972. I saved 247 lives under enemy fire. Last Tuesday, my son, your hero, locked me in a room during a heart attack." Gasped from the audience, cameras swinging toward me. Jake frozen at the podium. I walked to the front, opened my manila folder. "Jake told you I'm a drunk. Here's my medical report from Dr. Patricia Huang, VA hospital psychiatrist." I held up the 6-page evaluation. Clean for 20 years. Perfect mental health assessment. I pulled out bank statements. Jake claimed me as a dependent for tax benefits. $3,200. Here's my bank account showing I paid my own expenses. His caregiving cost him $0. Fire Chief Reeves approached. "Mr. Morrison, please." "Chief, Your officer violated every code he swore to uphold. Your department's Facebook page has the proof. 47,000 people watched him choose reputation over responsibility. I faced the crowd, voice carrying to the back of the room. Jake had 57 minutes to save my life. He spent those minutes protecting his image instead. I held up printed Facebook comments from the live stream. This is not heroism. Real heroes save family first. How can we trust him with our emergencies? Jake learned the wrong lesson from me. I taught him that heroes run toward danger, not away from accountability. Jake finally found his voice. Dad, I was scared. The award meant everything to my career. More than my life, son? The question hung in the air. 500 people waiting for an answer. I thought you'd be okay. You've survived worse. Jake, I almost died because you were embarrassed by me. I turned to the audience. My son cares more about applause than he does about oath. How many of your emergencies has he responded to while thinking about his next medal? Mayor Walsh retook the microphone. In light of recent events, we're postponing any recognition pending investigation. But I wasn't done. Jake, you want to talk about service? I served in a war where friends died in my arms, where I performed surgery with mortars exploding overhead, where every decision meant life or death. I stepped closer to him. You served in a department where saving face matters more than saving lives. The room was electric, every person leaning forward. Son, you had one job. Be there when your family needed you. You failed. Jake's composure finally cracked. Dad, please. My career, my family, everything I worked for. Jake, your family was me. In that locked room, having a heart attack, calling your name. Sarah stood up in the back, tears streaming. Jake, stop. Just stop. I pulled out my Purple Heart citation, read it aloud. For wounds received while saving the lives of fellow servicemen under enemy fire. Firebase Charlie, March 23, 1971. Then I looked at Jake. Your citation would read, for protecting his reputation while his father nearly died in the next room. The crowd was stirring now, firefighters looking at each other, shaking their heads, police officers whispering, city officials taking notes. Chief Reeves stepped forward. This is a personnel matter. Chief, this became a public matter when Jake live-streamed his character to 47,000 people. I faced the crowd one final time. Real heroes don't choose between family and duty. They understand that family is the first duty. Everything else comes second. I gathered my evidence, straightened my dress blues. Jake lost more than an award tonight, but maybe he finally learned what heroism actually costs. I walked out of that community center with my head high. Behind me, 500 people sat in absolute silence. Jake had wanted recognition. He got it, just not the kind he was expecting. 3 weeks later, the consequences were real and permanent. Jake's suspension became termination. Internal Affairs investigation found gross negligence in emergency response duties and conduct unbecoming a firefighter. 20-year career over. The $50,000 award was permanently redistributed to the Emergency Response Training Fund. New department protocols now require mandatory family crisis response training. They call it the Morrison Protocol. Jake's mortgage went into default after 2 missed payments. The house, $420,000, red brick, suburban dream, got foreclosed. Sarah filed for separation, took the kids to her mother's place in Austin. I can't trust a man who'd lock his own father up, she told the divorce attorney. But Jake did something that surprised me. He entered counseling, not court-ordered. His choice. Dr. Rebecca Martinez, family therapist. Twice a week, working through what she called reputation addiction and inherited trauma patterns. He called me after his 3rd session. Dad, I need to tell you something. I've been treating you like a liability instead of my father. We meet once a month now. Coffee at Denny's, neutral ground. He's working construction, 42 years old, starting over. Humbling work for someone who used to be front-page news. I inherited your survival skills, but not your values, he told me last week. I'm learning the difference. Sarah's considering reconciliation, but with conditions. Jake has to complete a full year of therapy. Has to acknowledge what he did was abuse, not poor judgment. Has to rebuild trust with actions, not words. The fire department uses my live stream and ethics training now. Emergency responders must respond to all emergencies, especially family, is the official motto. I moved back to my own apartment. Paid off, VA benefits sufficient, independence restored. I'm not Jake's dependent anymore. I'm his father who taught him that consequences have meaning. Channel 8 did a follow-up story 6 months later. From hero to humbled, one family's journey through public accountability. Jake appeared on camera, no uniform, just work clothes and honesty. I thought being a hero meant getting recognition. My father taught me that real heroes don't need applause. They need integrity. We're building something new now, not the relationship we had that was built on lies and reputation management. This one's built on truth and earned respect. Jake's still a first responder, just not the kind who wears a badge. Real heroes don't choose between family and duty. They understand that family is the first duty. Everything else comes second.